Our next laureate began their time at First Bank as a trainee in 1981 and worked their way all the way up to the position of CEO.
Let's see, in 1981, I was negative 27 years old.
Well, one thing you guys have in common is that you're both pretty good with numbers. Under our next laureate's leadership, First Bank has grown to be one of the largest and best performing privately held banks in the United States and one of the most charitable companies in the state of Colorado.
Let's take a look at the many accomplishments of John A. Ikard.
First time you see him and that big smile lights up his face and lights up the room, that's the effect that John Ikard has on people.
John Ikard's tenure at First Bank helped propel the institution into one of Colorado's most impressive success stories. First Bank's motto, Banking for Good, is something close to John's heart, and he continues his legacy of going above and beyond with every organization he touches. John Ikard was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico in 1956.
And came up to Colorado State in 1974. And then I just sort of bombed out of school, came back, ended up with a psychology degree, and ended up later on getting my MBA in business.
That academia wasn't his entire focus when he was in college.
Had a car payment coming due, so I thought I'd better take it seriously. So I answered an ad in the paper to be a trainee at First Bank at $15,000 a year. And you know, your first couple of years, didn't really enjoy it, but then one day the light came on, and now it's been 42 years. And I started off in Castle Rock, and then we opened the bank at the Tech Center. Became the president there, and that was really my first big stepping stone.
John quickly moved through the ranks at First Bank and was named president and CEO of First Bank Holding Company in 1999, a position he held until 2017.
First Bank quadrupled in size, one customer at a time, during John's leadership. We went from $4 billion in assets to over $17 billion while he was CEO.
John was also the chairman of the American Bankers Association, the nation's largest financial services association, as well as serving on the Federal Reserve Board of Kansas City.
I believe John was the first person I had come in to give a talk about what ethics looked like. During the whole subprime mortgage mess, did they give any subprime loans at First Bank? He said they gave a couple, actually, and they couldn't figure out how to do it in a way that was responsible, so they didn't do it. He really is a community leader because he cares about our whole community.
In 2010, First Bank partnered with Community First Foundation to launch Colorado Gives Day, a 24-hour online drive to raise money for Colorado nonprofits.
You create an incredible amount of goodwill. Yeah, it gets back to employees. They want to know that you're giving to their special causes.
I think John's superpower is that he values people. John and I have worked together on a whole host of issues, a lot of them very stressful. And the thing that I enjoyed very much about John is that he always made the stressful work very enjoyable. It's just his humanity. He's just a very generous, spirited person.
John meets with our young, emerging professionals of color often. He forges introductions, he leverages his connections, and he really helps young people and growing leaders alike.
And makes it unique is the diversity of the organizations that he has led and contributed to over the years. Healthcare, higher education, economic development, the National Western.
Well, the National Western Center Authority is a complicated project, right? You're representing interests of Colorado State University, the City and County of Denver, the Western Stock Show Association. And John chairs that board with his usual grace and humility. He gets people to smile. He brings us together, always keeps us focused on what that common goal is.
John is also very funny, has a great sense of humor, takes the work very seriously, but he doesn't take himself seriously.
During our meetings, sometimes he'll say something or just a quip, and everybody will just start laughing because it'll be just out of the blue, but it'll just be on point and so hysterical.
John has never met a stranger. He has the most strategic mind, and he is a brilliant thought partner.
Anyone who knows John Ikard is better for that experience.
Please welcome Mr. John Ikard.
Well, thank you for all those nice comments on the video, and also want to give a really good shout out to JJ and Robin. They're on the front lines of the fight for business and free enterprise today. It's a rough battle out there, and they're definitely the warriors we want in our camp. So I really admire the work that's done by JJ and Robin. Three groups I want to thank today. First of all, my family. I have my 4 kids here from all over the country with significant others and good friends, and most of all, I want to thank my wife of 40 years. I actually met Karen at the bank. We were working together. That's back when you could actually date somebody and not get in a lot of trouble. But I remember the day before I got married when my director said, "John, is she the right woman?" I said, "Well, sure, I love her." But no, I don't care about love. She is the most important financial decision you'll ever make. And after 40 years, I've grown to love that. She has been my best financial decision, my best business decision, but more importantly, my best personal and family decisions, so thanks, honey. Second group I want to thank is my mentors. There are so many mentors in this room that have helped me over the years. Some are older than me, some are younger, some are men, some are very young women. And I've learned so much from you. It's not that you've told me about how you succeeded and how great you were. What you did was you talked about the times that you had to deal with disasters and near-death business experiences. And that sort of comment that, was there ever a day you ever lost it all? And the fact that you would be vulnerable and let me in and show me how you actually took care of business and things you did to survive. There's some really amazing stories in this room that people don't know about, of perseverance and of redemption. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate all you've done for me. All this time you guys thought you were just getting a free breakfast for a free dinner, but it was actually me picking your brain. So thanks to all the great mentors in this room. The last group I want to thank is all my friends at First Bank. People talk about how you stand on the shoulders of those that came before you, but more importantly, you stand on the shoulders of your employees and the people that work with you and your peers. And there's this pyramid, and you always get to stand on the top when things are going good, you get all the credit. And when I was younger and a little bit more brash, I would always say, you know, we have a great team, super team, but it's kind of me. And you kind of, as you get older, you realize you step aside, the next team steps in, and they take it to even higher heights and do better. It's incredibly satisfying, but it's also very humbling to realize, like, damn, they're pretty good. And you're not indispensable. And none of us are indispensable. We all have our day in the sun. And there's so much talent out there, and I just encourage all of us to, at the appropriate time, to pass the baton to the younger people in this room and let them have their day in the sun, because they've worked just as hard as us, and they deserve it too. So please support the next group of up-and-coming leaders. There's so many in this room that are just amazing young people, and they really are the future of business in Colorado. And we always talk about how we're indispensable. And, you know, I always thought I was indispensable. But I always think of, you know, Charles de Gaulle's comment that cemeteries are filled with indispensable men. And that's what keeps me humble, makes me appreciate what I have. And I just want to thank you all in this room. And it's just an incredible honor to be part of this group. And Pat, if you're going to bounce your next check, you might move your accounts to UNB. Thanks again.